Garcia, one of the best traders in the world. So it shows you how committed he is. His manager is Abner Mares, Mexican Olympian himself. So right there you see these guys are really surrounding themselves with a strong team. And then there is somebody who was just turned 18, who was actually in the Olympic cycle for 4 years, for the next Olympics. The number one amateur, and in the United States, a tall, lanky kid. His name is Money Powell. He's going to be on the card as well. Money Powell IV, a great grandfather, father, and him. They're all Money. I mean, you don't make this up. This is actually his name, and it's sort of like, you know, really interesting to see for me to come back in boxing, starting a new company. And I've known a little bit about money. My first career was in the banking business with Money, right? And then I was in the boxing business with Floyd Money Mayweather, and now I start my new company. And guess what? Who walks across? Who do I find somewhere on the border between Georgia and Alabama? I find this guy, who, a tall young kid, reminds me of a haggler, as nice and as polite as they come, and his name is Money. I mean, Money is his name.
It's a sign.
So it's a sign, and I love it. And so for me, April the 9th is really opening night. It's going to be, it's the night where we're going to let these guys loose, and they're here to make history.
Tell me, Richard, you were involved in two of the biggest pay-per-views in history. Is the pay-per-view becoming irrelevant?
No, I think it's going to be, you know, when I started in boxing, I was telling everybody back in 2000 that my goal is to break the pay-per-view records, and everybody was laughing at me because it was Tyson and Holyfield and Tyson and Lennox Lewis who held the records. They did 1,990,000, almost 2 million homes, and everybody was telling me, "Oh, forget it." They were laughing at me. They said, "You're never going to be able to break those records." Because those were heavyweights, this was a different time, you know, the pay-per-view business is not the same. And guess what? We broke the records. And I am going to break those records again. The pay-per-view business is not dead, but you need to have the right product, the right date, you need to have the right partners, the right promotion, the right activations. There's a science to promoting pay-per-view, and not everybody knows that science.
Triple G is a curious case. He could fill Madison Square Garden with a great fight, but his pay-per-views don't sell. I mean, what do you think is going on there? I mean,
well, you know, I was actually thinking I would love to guarantee Triple G a number of pay-per-views and then work on the upside, because I think that Triple G can become a big pay-per-view star. And you know, he connected for a long time with the Mexican audience as well. I think they moved away from that a little bit. Remember when everybody was talking about Mexican style? Mexican style? When have you heard the last time Mexican style? But you know, this is just one example. I'm not going to give you all of the examples what I would do, because I mean, you need to get paid.
Yeah.
But believe me, I would know how to promote Triple G.
How do you revitalize the pay-per-view business in general? Being that now you have the menace of Periscope and Facebook and all that. I mean, how do you revitalize it?
Well, I think you need to embrace these new technologies. You need to work with them, and you need to see how can you use those new technologies to your advantage.
Okay. Tell me about Canelo Chavez. Tell me, being that everybody, the fans wanted Triple G the Canelo, and then sports-wise it doesn't make much sense because Chavez hasn't really, you know, been around in the last years. Would you have made that fight?
Yes.
Yeah?
You mean the Chavez?
The Chavez Canelo before Triple G?
Yeah, I would have, because in the end of the day, it's a big fight, it's big money, and why not? You know, and Canelo has earned the right to fight whoever the hell he wants to fight. You know, I mean, let him go, and it's his time to make money, and if that's the fight where he can make money, then good for him.
Do you think, obviously a lot of people people say Canelo's the favorite because he's been active and his talent. But tell me, isn't it high risk for him fighting a guy that has nothing to lose and then he has everything to lose?
That's always high risk. And when you look at the press conference, it was like boy against man. I mean, Chavez is like a giant compared to Canelo, and in the beginning, everybody said, "Oh, easy fight for Canelo, easy fight for Canelo." I think people have changed that a little bit because they see how serious Chavez is taking it, and Chavez is in shape. He's training hard. Chavez has a great chin. Chavez has a great punch. So it's not going to be easy. And Chavez has a lot of pride, and it's not going to be an easy fight for Canelo.
So who do you think is going to win?
Chavez.
Chavez?
Yes.
Because of the weight?
And I'm a big Canelo fan.
Well, you were there the day one?
And so on. But, I believe that Chavez is going to win the fight.
And it's because of the weight?
It's about, he can take a punch, he can dish out the punch, the size is going to wear down Canelo, so I think it's going to be a fascinating fight.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You mentioned Money Powell. I had a chance to meet his father, Money Powell, for MP3. And his freaking highlight reel, Mr. Schaeffer, is freaking unbelievable. Roy Jones couldn't have done a better job in his highlight reel.
No, he's absolutely amazing. And having had an opportunity to meet him, how polite the father is, how polite the son is. I mean, just an absolute pleasure to work with, and just that they don't come better than that.
Now, April 9th, you're putting on a card. Do you plan on doing this? Is this a monthly thing you want to do in LA? Or is this just a one-time to get your future stars in front of the LA media?
Well, I want to have them do their debut in LA, but I want them to be back in LA, not necessarily on a monthly basis. I think it's important that some of those guys get exposure outside of LA as well. But I do want to have Carlos Balderos particularly sort of like become like the king of LA. There was always that one fighter who sort of like was LA, was Southern California, was California, and right now we don't have that. We had Oscar, there was Fernando Vargas, and before that there were so many other great fighters which fought at the legendary Grand Olympic Auditorium. Right now you don't really have that fighter, and I think Carlos is going to be able to fill those shoes and grow from there to become a global star, a global superstar.
Now there's a lot of uncertainty in boxing, meaning that when everyone asks for the pound for pound list, everyone has a different answer. Who do you foresee as the next big man coming up in boxing?
It's very easy. I have no question about it. It's a California guy, of course, and his name is Mikey Garcia. I mean, this is a guy, when you listen to him, very intelligent. He really understands it. Charismatic. He can fight. Bilingual. I mean, tell me what he doesn't have.
Now, I will say this, Rich, I'm a little disappointed in you. I don't have my filet mignon, my asparagus, my mashed potatoes. What happened today, man?
Well, you usually get that, right? But we couldn't serve that here at the gym, so we'll make up for it.
And my last question before he goes, did you see the Jacob Triple G fight?
Yes, I did.
What was missing in that fight, would you say? You're the promoter. How would you have taken that fight to the next level, to the next stratosphere?
Well, I have to tell you, I was one of the guys who paid $65 for the pay-per-view. I had my sons came home from college. They go in LA in college, and so we were at home. We had a barbecue, and we watched the fights together. They brought some friends over as well from college, and you know what? We had a great night. And when the fight was over, when the card was over, I was telling my wife, I said, you see, this is why I love boxing pay-per-views. If the fights are good and entertaining, it's just fun. It's fun. Everybody watches it, talk about it, and so on. So it's fun, and it's still a relatively cheap form of entertainment. You don't have to pay for parking. We barbecue, and you pay $65. Okay, big deal. I think it was a great pay-per-view. And as a fight, as the Golovkin-Jacobs fight, I think it was a very evenly matched fight. I think Canelo, Jacobs clearly did better than everyone anticipated. I was looking at the night before at some expert picks on one of the websites. They asked 22 like trainers and experts and fighters and so on. 22 picked Golovkin and 21 by knockout. So, you know, Danny did fantastic, and I think Golovkin in his last few fights, truth be told, you know, he has peaked a little bit. Let's be honest. It's not the same Golovkin we saw a couple of years ago, right? So, you know, I think that made the fight even, but I think it was very entertaining.
Thank you, Richard.